Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started. As always, we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Sheriff Toulon will lead us off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to go around the horn here and recognize that we have a quorum. Again, Kevin Law, Chair of the Council.
Alexander Carlos.
Frank Trotta.
Christopher Hahn.
Dick McCormick.
Okay, so first I'm now going to recognize that we have a quorum and we can conduct our business. Dick, we always have your team introduce themselves. We'll start here.
Hi, Heather Bennett, Assistant Vice President of Community Relations.
Bill Werdheim, Executive Vice President for Stony Brook Council.
Justin Fincher, Interim Chief Deputy and Government Community Relations.
Jed Shipper, Senior VP, Finance and Administration.
Rick Etcho, Vice President for Student Affairs.
Judy Brown Clark, Vice President of Equity and Inclusion, Chief Diversity Officer.
Brayden Hosh, Vice President for Educational and Institutional Effectiveness.
Simeon Anand, Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer.
Bill Herman, Vice President for Facilities and Services.
Good. Susan.
Suzanne Shane, Chief Campus Counsel.
Wendy Pearson, Vice President for Strategic Initiatives.
Kevin Gardner, Vice President for Research.
Susan Foley, Interim Vice President, Marketing and Communications.
Scott Barrett, Interim Vice President for University Advancement.
Good morning, Fred Skander, Executive Director of the Long Island State Veterans Home.
Good morning, Luis Marius, President for UEP West Chapter.
Good morning, Bruce Kuby, UEP Chapter President, Health Sciences Center Chapter.
Good morning, Rachel Kavanaugh, Executive Assistant to the Chief Deputy to the President and the President.
Good morning, Michelle Gonzalez, a Statesman staff writer covering the meeting.
Good morning, Tashika Setnier, Associate Vice President for
Great. And welcome to the Statesman. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Dick. It's always great to see the team, your team, here with us.
And may I say, it's a terrific team.
Yes, great, very good. They sure are. So we have a couple of business items. First is the approval of the minutes from both May 6, 2024, and the special meeting that we had on July 25th, 2024. I will move them. Frank Trotta seconds them. Are there any comments, revisions, additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. I want to recognize for her first official meeting, she's been here at other meetings, that Brenda Anderson, the new president of the University Senate, is officially joining us here. And Brenda, we welcome you. And you want to just explain for maybe folks on the council who aren't exactly sure what the University Senate is, to just explain what that entity is?
We advise the administration on academic issues, and we have 3 governance councils, the Arts and Sciences Senate, the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences Senate, and then the Health Sciences Senate, which is represented somewhat by the Renaissance School of Medicine Senate. So we meet with the president once a month and the provost once a month, and we hold meetings for the full Senate body once a month and have standing committees that work with the administration to advise on policies
Great.
and practices.
Well, thank you. We look forward to working with you. And thanks for being here today. Let's see. I have 2 items I want to mention in my chairman's report, and then Dick, I'll hand it over to you. So, as you know, every year I attend on behalf of Stony Brook the Association of College Trustees, their annual conference upstate, and so I had the fun weekend of being up there this weekend. But we actually had 2 pretty interesting seminars on Saturday morning, and that will eventually work its way down to the council. Turn this off, sorry. One is they gave an update on artificial intelligence, the governor's commitment to it, the commitment she made to UB, that's going, University of Buffalo, that's going to benefit the other colleges as well, and just how it's just going to continue to grow and grow for both students and faculty. And what we had a discussion on is, as you know, one of our roles is we have to update the student code of conduct every year, and what role AI is going to play then with the students. and to make sure, that things are being done properly, ethically, and not cheating ways and plagiarism ways. And every time there's a good thing, there's also opportunities for abusing it. So they're working on some generic sort of guidelines with faculty, and right now it's sort of being done sort of not haphazardly, but the professor and the classes are sort of just going over what their own individual policies are, and they're trying to come up with sort of more of a universal policy for all the SUNY campuses and schools. But it was pretty interesting. Chancellor John King came to the Friday night reception, and he gave a terrific speech. It was filled with stats about SUNY that we should all be aware of. And their team is going to circulate the speech to the chairs, and I'll share it with Rachel, and she'll share it with you. But if one of our roles is to be advocates for Stony Brook and to be advocates for SUNY in general, he was just blowing people away with all the impressive stats that SUNY has made in terms of the students, the graduation rates, our tuition costs, and everything that parents, potential students, and employers would want to know about. So it was really good. We'll circulate that. And then the other thing we learned on Saturday morning, SUNY has an amazing general counsel. His name is Kapil Langani, and he gave a civil rights update on higher ed, primarily focused on Title VI and Title IX, and how the world continues to change, and those two federal regulations really impact things from not just athletics. Everybody associates Title IX with athletics, but also now with student protest and things like that. So they are going to do a webinar for all council members, because it's something that I think we should all be aware of. And I'm an attorney by trade, but I learned things. And for non-attorney council members, there are just so many things we need to be aware of, and it continues to evolve and change. So later on this fall, there's going to be a 1-hour webinar for all council members, and I'll encourage you to participate once we get that notice. And then finally, there was a luncheon. There's always a luncheon on Saturday afternoon where they honor students, and this year, finally, a Stony Brook student was honored, because I can't remember the last time it was. 64 colleges, and they give one out each year. So a Stony Brook student, her name was Rachel Alexander, a poli-sci major here with a 4.0 average. She won one of the ACT scholarships, and she was terrific, gave a great speech, very well, a representative of the quality of students that we have here. So it was a pleasure to introduce her, meet her parents, and continue to see the power of Stony Brook. So that was a worthwhile seminar. Then also I wanted to brief you on the presidential search. So as you know, by SUNY bylaws and regulations, we have created a search committee to find our new president. It's a large committee of about 25 members. It's made up of council members, foundation members, faculty members, professional staff, alumni, some external partners like B&L. A terrific group, a very diverse group. We had our first meeting on Wednesday, I think right in this room. We kicked it off, and essentially, the process is pretty straightforward. We've retained the company recruiting firm Spencer Stewart, a very well-regarded search firm. They are assisting us. We have created a website here at Stony Brook, and Spencer Stewart has also created the website. The website for Stony Brook is to anybody who wants to provide comments, concerns, or suggestions can make those on the Stony Brook website. If you wanted to nominate somebody if you're aware of a terrific candidate, and then those are being put on the Spencer Stewart website. And Rachel, if you haven't already, I think the notice included the 2 websites that went out to the
I
whole
can send that out.
Stony Brook family. So that is underway. The firm is busy building up a pool of candidates. The committee will meet and decide which ones to interview. The goal is to interview folks in early December and make recommendations to the council. Again, the way it works, the search committee makes recommendations to the council, and then the council, we vote, and we make recommendations to SUNY. And so once we're down to the finalists, I'll invite council members who aren't on the committee to also meet with the candidates. And then the council will take up action when we're ready. And again, we forward the names to the chancellor, who then makes the recommendation to the SUNY Board of Trustees, who will ultimately decide it. That's the same. It's the identical process that we had 4 years ago, and the one that we will follow now. But off to a good start. First meeting under our belt, and just forming the committee took the entire summer. Brenda, thanks for your help and guidance there. So that is my chair's report. Do any council members have any questions for me or comments? All right, hearing none. I want to now introduce our interim president, approved by SUNY over the summer, Dick McCormick. He's doing a great job already. I've met and spoken with Dick several times. He's a former president of Rutgers University, very comparable, large, public AAU school like Stony Brook is, and history, professor as well. He's written about New York State government and politics as well. Overall, great guy, and he's doing a great job, and was hit the third day of the semester with the horrendous storm. So he's already been battle tested here at Stony Brook. And so, very happy to have you here, Dick. And so the floor is yours for your president's report.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. It has been a great pleasure working with you up to this point, and I know we'll continue to be close partners throughout the year. Let me say to the whole council how proud I am to be the interim president of Stony Brook University. It's a wonderful place that I have come to love in a very short period of time. I've said to several people in all my years of academic leadership, I've never been in a position that I have enjoyed as much as I'm enjoying this one. So thank you for that. Thank you for that opportunity. I'm very appreciative to the council as well. You play a critical role. You represent the communities of Long Island, of which we are a part, and you bring a great deal of passion and love for Stony Brook. And that's so important. It really, your role really matters. I'm grateful to Governor Hochul for appointing you. And she has obviously chosen very well, including a long-term leadership of this council. She was here, by the way, after the event to which Kevin referred a moment ago. We had a huge flood on August 19th. She called me the day after the rain stopped and expressed her concern for Stony Brook. And the following week, she showed up in rubber boots and toward the still soaked basement of Gray Residence Hall, and again expressed her concern and her support for Stony Brook. I took the occasion to thank her for her designation of Stony Brook as a flagship, which she did in 2022, and to invite her back to campus. And I think she'll accept that. I think she'll accept that invitation. Let me give a couple of high points about Stony Brook so far this fall, and then I'll turn to the challenges that I addressed in my State of the University address last Wednesday. We have a historic enrollment of first-year students, 4,050 to be exact, an indication of the rising prestige of Stony Brook and its attractiveness to students. And I think it also reflects the prestige of the flagship designation. Those students are academically outstanding. Moreover, they're not rich kids. They represent the middle class of New York, and about half of them come from families that are economically disadvantaged. We know that because they're Pell eligible. And by the way, our Pell students graduate at a slightly higher rate than the rest of the student body. I never heard of a university where that was true. That outstanding just freshman class didn't happen by accident. Our enrollment management folks and our student affairs folks do a terrific job in bringing great students to Stony Brook. I've had opportunities to meet with many of them at lots of student affairs run events over the past month, and they love it here, believe me. On September 19th, I guess that was exactly a month after the flood, Chancellor King was here, and we met with him for a roundtable discussion of the value of public higher education in New York. Sounds like a similar subject to the one he addressed, that Kevin said he addressed last Friday night. Naturally, our focus was on Stony Brook. We had 4 administrators, 4 faculty members, and 3 students. And although we didn't rehearse it, we didn't plan it together, in 45 minutes, we presented, if I may say so, a fabulous portrait of our university, including its strengths and its needs, especially in the area of facilities. There were also 2 members of the state legislature present, and it was crystal clear that Chancellor King and they appreciated what they learned about us and took very, very seriously our facilities problems we cannot solve without the support of SUNY and the state legislature and the governor. On another positive note, so far our campus has been relatively peaceful. There have been several demonstrations on behalf of Palestinians, but they have been carried out precisely according to our rules. They were peaceful. They marched around campus a bit, and they were not disruptive in any way, nor did anyone disrupt them. May it continue. We've devoted a great deal of time over the summer to anticipating protests this fall, and they may come in a serious measure. We're not out of the woods yet for sure. We promulgated rules and regulations concerning what's okay to do and what's not okay to do, and made clear that if you break those rules, there will be consequences. There'll be discipline, and although it would break my heart, there might even be arrests again. We will do everything possible to avoid that. So will the Stony Brook Police, but our campus community is on notice that this has got to be a place where everyone can get to where they need to be, achieve what they came to Stony Brook for, and not be disrupted by people who are getting in their way. I'll keep you posted on this. I'll almost certainly have something to say about this at every council meeting that I attend this year. So on Wednesday, as I indicated, I gave my State of the University address. I've sent you all a copy, and I hope you'll watch it. It's only 34 minutes, so you can do it without busting your day open. As you'll see in the video, I'm alone on the stage, but I had the support of a tremendous community of leaders within Stony Brook who helped set the stage, literally, and craft the speech, and steer me through several full dress run-throughs and all that stuff. So if it looks a little staged, well, it was, but it came out very well, if I may say so. I took the occasion of the first half of the speech to praise Stony Brook, and I cited some of the things I've cited today, and a number of others as well. But I believe my challenge as president is also to challenge the university, to identify its greatest strategic needs, and to enlist the university, to inspire the university to join me in meeting those challenges. I talked about 3. The first was research. We are a good research university, but we have an opportunity to be a great one if we invest more in, for example, high power computing facilities, more support for faculty in applying for federal research grants, more support for interdisciplinary research. We can move up very considerably. My predecessor set an ambitious goal, which I support, of doubling Stony Brook's research expenditures, mostly from the federal government, by 2030. It's a terrific goal, but it won't happen by accident unless we make the kind of investments that I discussed in my speech. I have a particular ambition to strengthen the ties between Stony Brook Medicine and the other health sciences on the East Campus and everything else on the West Campus. We are taking advantage of those ties in, for example, our program in biomedical engineering. But there are plenty of other opportunities that are left on the table. We are so fortunate here in Stony Brook, have on the same campus, divided only by nickels, a terrific academic medical center, and many, many other disciplines. They need to collaborate more fully. So I am going to appoint a task force co-chaired by Brenda and Bill to explore opportunities for greater collaboration between the health sciences and everything else. I'll staff that task force well, and I'll fund them well so they can visit other universities if they wish to and see what best practices they are. There are lots and lots of ways in which Stony Brook Medicine and the other health sciences can collaborate, not only in research but also in teaching, although I admit my focus here is on research, with those on the West Campus. That's a challenge, increasing research in the several ways I mentioned and others that I haven't mentioned. That's a challenge that we can meet. We have it within our power to do that, and I expect we will. Second challenge is trickier. It's no more fundamental, but it can't be met by us alone, and that is our facilities. Our facilities are not worthy of a flagship university. Many of them were built in the decades soon after the university was founded in 1957. They've been repaired and improved and maintenanced over the years, but they're nearing the end of their useful lives. The School of Dentistry is in the same temporary facility that it has occupied for 51 years.
Temporary.
The School of Atmospheric and Marine Sciences are in similar temporary facilities that they've occupied for their entire life of that school. The School of Business is in a building that's not worthy of a great research university. We have $2 billion worth of deferred maintenance. I never heard of a university that had that much. New York and SUNY have underinvested in our facilities, and it's not just at Stony Brook. It's at Buffalo and it's everywhere else, although nobody has deferred maintenance like we do. So the highest priority for the university, and Kevin will need council support here, the highest priority for the university and its external relations this year is getting attention to our facilities challenges. We can't do it without SUNY, without the state of New York, without the New York State Legislature, without Governor Hochul. At the request of SUNY, we've submitted a prioritized list of 4 capital facilities, mainly research, but also teaching facilities in chemistry, in interdisciplinary health sciences, in earth sciences, and in engineering and AI. We're not going to get all of those buildings this year, of course, but if we could get 2 of them approved and on the way, we're working very hard on that right now. We're in close touch with Chancellor King's office and with his chief deputy, and that will be my highest priority. When Governor Hochul comes to the campus again, not in rubber boots this time, I hope to talk with her about our facilities needs and explain that it's a top priority. We cannot be the flagship New York wants with the facilities we now have. The third challenge I mentioned, and again, I did think it my responsibility not just to celebrate Stony Brook, though I did lots of that, but to challenge it. Our third challenge is to make some strategic decisions about our enrollment. We are among the smallest of the AAU public universities. And while being bigger isn't intrinsically better, we know that there are many, many outstanding students who would like to come to Stony Brook for whom we don't have room. We know that our deans and our faculty want more students. And I think we should devote serious attention, and we are under the leadership of Provost Carl Leschwez, whose name I just mispronounced. Sorry, Carl. We are studying, we are making a strategic plan for increasing Stony Brook enrollment. There are many things in that plan, not yet fully formulated, that we can achieve on our own. For example, if we increase our enrollment, we have to make absolutely sure that every student has the full range of support and services they need, academic support, mental health support, and everything else. We can plan and make those investments. But there's some rate-limiting factors to increasing enrollment that are beyond our power to meet on our own, and they particularly concern housing. We're full up. When the flood took out 2 residence halls for this year, that took away for the foreseeable future 476 beds. Through the amazing work of Rick Gatteau and his team, we found 476 beds, involving tripling up many students, housing some in hotels and so forth. But we're full up. We're more than full up, even with the enrollment we now have. And of course, we're assuming those residence halls that are currently out of service will come back into service in the course of this year. We have a plan to construct a new Seawolves Village that'll be up by next fall. It'll include 500 new beds for students, but again, it's hardly any beds that will go beyond the enrollment we currently have. So my point is this: in order to increase our enrollment, we need more housing, and housing for students is something that cannot be achieved except with the support of the SUNY, of the state of New York, and perhaps from private sector partners. We have underway a planning exercise in trying to set forth how we would do that, and we will seek support from all of those sources. I think Stony Brook should get bigger, not gigantically bigger, but bigger. But there's some things we'll have to do within the university, and support we'll have to achieve from beyond the university in order to make that happen. So I'm very proud to be Stony Brook's interim president, and I have especially welcomed this warm support I've received, not only from my colleagues who are terrific, as I told you earlier, but also from the community, from this council, and from the state of New York. It will be my responsibility to use my time here, however long or short it is, to move Stony Brook toward meeting the greatest challenges it faces. We can become a true flagship university, and I'm determined that we shall. Thank you, Kevin.
Great. Thank you so much, Dick. It sounds like you've been here for quite a long time already, and you certainly have your hands wrapped around some of the key issues. And I think Dick was a little bit understating what him and the team did. I toured the damage to the dorms with Governor Hochul and with Dick and the team. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the water rose to the lights of the ceiling. It was 9 feet of water. It was incredible. Dick, I don't know if you know, or I see Bill Herman in the crowd. Well, what is the status of the repairs, and when do we think those dorms can be back online and be used for students again?
Yeah, sure. So all of our buildings are back fully operational, with the exception of the 2 residence halls, Gray and Amon. The first one will be turned over later this week, and then the second one will be turned over in January.
Well,
It's great.
that's amazing.
And that didn't happen by accident either.
Right. Does anybody have any questions for Dick on the items that he reported on? All right. Well, again, thank you so much, and we all look forward to working with you.
I'm proud to be here.
All right. We have 2 presentations today. First one is going to be from Heather Banu, and she is going to talk to us about the Stony Brook University and medicine community relations. And perhaps you didn't even know we were involved with that, but Heather is going to share it with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. So, Stony Brook Community Relations sits under Government and Community Relations. We report to Justin.
Heather, I'm just going to ask you to speak up a little, please.
Sure. We are a lean team, but we do a lot of great work. So community relations is the primary conduit between the university, medicine, and the external community. We implement a lot of our own programs and events. Most of them focus on K through 12 outreach, and we represent the institution to civic groups. We are the member of 6 chambers of commerce locally, many of which, as we grow, we seek consultation from medicine to see where they plan to expand, so we can start to garner those relationships and be there in those communities as our presence grows. We also sit on 3 boards, including the Brookhaven National Lab, the Girl Scouts of Suffolk County, and the 3 Village Chamber of Commerce, which we've had a long relationship with, sitting on their board. In 2023 to 2024, we organized or participated in a total of 55 community events, whether as participants or as organizers. I think a highlight to the types of partnerships that we create over the summer, with a lot of planning with the Mayor Shepro. We officially redeclared Port Jefferson as Seawolf's country, and that was tied to putting up new banners and signs declaring that achievement throughout the village. which I think was very exciting to a lot of us since we have a lot of faculty, staff, and students who live in the village, and it's our downtown, for lack of a better location closer to the university. So it's pretty close. So our events and signature events I'll go through, but in addition to that, part of our role as a representative to medicine, we set up many healthcare screenings, resource fairs, lectures, panels, and career and pipeline programs. In last academic year, we coordinated 90 of these events. So we do our very best to make sure that Stony Brook is out in the community while also inviting the community onto campus as much as possible. So the first program I'll briefly speak about, it's a high school pipeline program that we run ourselves. It's year-long. It's a partnership with the Longwood, Wyandanch, and Brentwood school districts. The goal of HOPE, it seeks to decrease healthcare disparities by increasing the number of providers from underserved and underrepresented communities. Last academic year, we welcomed our largest cohort of 56 high school juniors and seniors, which was a 44% increase to the number of students enrolled in the prior academic year. This coming year, we have a total of 45 juniors, 35 seniors, with an extensive wait list, and we've added a fourth school, William Floyd. So it's really a fantastic program. The students come on campus every week. They're meeting with folks on the university side, a lot on the medicine side, and we seek to grow this program as much as possible because we did have 6 seniors this past year that were committed to Stony Brook following participation in this program. Another event which we help to coordinate and provide support for is Black Men in White Coats. It's a youth summit. Last year, more than 300 3rd through 12th graders, plus educators and parents, came onto campus, and it was a full day of events, panels, guidance, all things related to healthcare. Clearly extremely well attended. That was our max capacity. We're likely to hit that max capacity again this year for the event scheduled on November 14th. Our office also helps to coordinate the Stony Brook Children's Health and Safety Expo. This is a long-standing partnership with the Long Island Ducks. This past year, we had 5,407 people attend. That's an easy one to be able to gauge attendance with tickets. It was a lot of fun. We, for 2 years in a row, have coined it a superhero night. So you have Wolfie, you have the Long Island Ducks mascot, and we pick 2 superheroes each year. We hand out branded capes, and it's just a lot of fun. The expo is on their concourse, so we have different representatives from medicine and the School of Medicine that are doing hands-on activities for folks that are walking through the concourse. We are also increasing our work with athletics. Last winter, we brought Gigi's Playhouse, which is a nonprofit on Long Island, 50 of their members, to a basketball game. They, of course, received it very well. They got to meet the players on court following the game. And we're hoping that this winter we can plan a Brookhaven community night, similarly for a basketball game. We think it will also be very well received, of course. And I'll conclude, oh no, look, it's an old version, Communiversity Day. I am exhausted. So on Saturday, we had Communiversity Day. It's our annual event that brings our communities, both internal and external, onto campus. It goes down the academic mall. In this case, it really was indeed rain or shine. We weren't expecting it to rain when we had to make the rainfall. We did have a rain plan, which was going to hold the event in the arena, but I will say that it didn't dampen the event. We had, though it's not listed there, between 2,300 and 2,500 people attend. It was booming. It was really exciting. The mall was full. There was a lot of good energy. We held our first Lego competition. I will say the Lego Discovery tent was probably the busiest tent at the event, which was fantastic. We had a food drive for Island Harvest, our traditional ice cream social, tons of health screenings, other STEM events. But again, we invite our external communities, our closest partners, to have tables. It's festival style, So it's tables along the academic mall, always a huge number of tables from healthcare. We bring our dental mobile van, and it's a really fun event, and clearly well branded in that people keep coming back even if it's raining. So I'm welcome any questions. This is just really the highlights of our signature events, but clearly from the numbers, we try to get out in the community as much as we can.
500 community members came, or 2,500?
In total, people coming to attend the event, so
From
not
both
including
community.
participants.
Not including.
Not including
Bar
like the tables, and it's hard to tell. We don't require people to check in, but it's plenty of people from our internal community, faculty and staff bring their families, but then also the external community, which is our primary goal, to bring people in and see all the awesome things that we're doing here.
Got it.
And we had close over 100 participants with their own tables and or hands-on activities that were not specific to tables. Tree tours, we try to really have it be all-encompassing. Anyone who can attend, we find ways to engage them.
This was terrific information. I wasn't aware of everything we're doing. I'm really glad to see it because, we're a big place. We got 25,000 plus students. We got about 15,000 employees, and everybody looks at us as this big giant with these big, weird buildings on Nichols Road, and not everybody is sure what happens here. But everybody knows somebody who works here or goes to school here. But at the end of the day, we have to remember we're part of the local community too. As much as we reach for the stars and we have Nobel laureates and we have amazing professors and deans from the finest universities in the country, we have great hospital. At the end of the day, we have to be good neighbors because we're a very big part of the Long Island community. And to see us engaged, with the community and planting seeds, for future students here and future doctors here in the community, I think that's a very important role. So I'm glad to see that we do all that. I know we're very engaged in the Three Village area and with the chambers here, but do we participate in the Southampton Chamber of Commerce with the Southampton Hospital? And is there one out in Greenport for Eastern Long Island? And do we engage in those communities as well?
Yes, so we are in Free Village, we are in Port Jefferson, Comac. We just joined Patchogue, which we're trying to get involved with them more and more. We are in Southampton's Chamber of Commerce. Have we gone further east yet? Not yet. So we are slowly but surely starting to create those relationships and joining those boards. I find that with Southampton, perhaps, that their Chamber of Commerce might not necessarily be the best place, but finding the right community and civic groups to make sure that we're reaching the right people.
Well, I would encourage us to get involved in Greenport too. Greenport has seen this miraculous type of turnaround. It was happening before COVID, and then during and after COVID has really taken off. And I think by being good neighbors out there, we'll meet people who will then help with not only the healthcare aspects of the university, but there's a lot of high net worth individuals who now live in the North Fork too, and maybe some of them are interested in participating in our foundation as well. So we need to be good neighbors, but there could also be benefits of being a good neighbor, and we should pursue them.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Kevin, may I say one of the best ways we're good neighbors is through this very council. All of you have ties on Long Island, you, and perhaps in particular, and your outreach to the community, your representation of us, and your loyalty to Stony Brook is a huge bond between us and Long Island. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Nick. Anybody else have any other questions for Heather? All right. Well, thank you so much. All right. Next up, we have a presentation from the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences from our Dean, Andrew Singer. There he is. Hey.
Great. Well, great to see you all here this morning. I just finished my first year at Stony Brook this summer, and it's been great to be part of this wonderful community and amazing university. As Kevin said, my name is Andrew Singer, and I'm Dean of the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences. And I want to talk a little bit about the college and where we're going. So there are 9 academic departments in the college. 4 of those are traditional engineering departments: mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical and computer engineering, and material science and chemical engineering. Then we have 3 applied sciences departments: computer science, applied math and statistics, and a department called technology and society. And then there's 2 very special departments that President McCormick alluded to that we share with the College of Medicine. This is biomedical informatics and biomedical engineering. So it's a very broad and diverse set of academic departments. We have 13 different undergraduate majors that span all those departments, and a variety of master's and doctoral programs that continue to evolve and expand to meet the needs of our students, including 2 new graduate programs in engineering and artificial intelligence that enrolled its first class just this year, and a very successful graduate and now undergraduate program in data science that is a partnership between computer science and applied math and statistics, which is rapidly becoming one of the most sought after disciplines in college. We have about 175 or so tenure track faculty, and we're continuing to grow. As Dick had said, we have a good and very strong and vibrant research enterprise at Stony Brook. It can be better, and it will be. But as you can see, in the last 10 years, we're up over almost 140% in research expenditure. And even in the last 5 years, we've grown by about 65%. We're just under about $70 million in research expenditure in the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences, which is good, but for a college of our stature, we can do a lot better. We continue to grow, and this is a statistic that I think shows that the leadership at Stony Brook is really committed to embracing that goal of growing and engaging in research. In the last 5 years, Stony Brook has been in the top 3 in growth in research expenditure. So it shows that among the most vibrant research universities in the United States today, we are among the most rapidly growing and have continued to be so for the last 3 years running.
That's growth in the amount of money that we're bringing in for research?
That's growth in the amount of money that we're spending. So not just bringing it in, but spending it. So you have to bring it in, yes, but then you also have to spend it. Absolutely. We lead in New York State. We are the #1 College of Engineering and Applied Sciences in bachelor's degrees granted in New York State since 2018. So we are supplying the needed engineers and scientists for the state of New York. That's great. As Dick had alluded to and you heard, we're also growing in our enrollments. We had a banner year. We're up over 5,600 students total, just under 4,000 undergraduate students in the balance in master's and doctoral programs. And the demographics are leading in some cases, national averages and lagging in others, but we're just under 30% in women in the College of Engineering and Applied Science. Overall, our reputational ranking for the college sits at around 63rd, and it's been around 60 or so for a number of years. It's grown quite a bit in the last few among all colleges of engineering, according to US News and World Report. We're about 36 among publics. But where should we be? And this is a slide that took a little bit of digesting. But what I have plotted on the x-axis here, I'm back in the lecture hall, is the gross domestic product of every state in the United States, ranging from California to Vermont. California's got the largest GDP, Vermont has the least. So California has the resources that you could imagine to invest in higher education, to lead to a strong set of public flagship universities. Vermont has far fewer resources, and as you can imagine, as you go from California to Vermont, as the resources available to the state to invest in higher education get smaller, the reputational ranking of those institutions will get lower. And this gray band through the middle sort of shows that there's a strong linear correlation between those two. You'll see that there are some outliers. On the lower right-hand side, these are universities that have a smaller GDP. There are fewer resources in those states to dedicate to higher education, yet their reputational ranking is higher than one might expect based on the resources that are available. Purdue is a very strong example of one that has fewer resources than it ought to have, given its reputational ranking. University of Delaware, similar. You want to be in the lower right. Where you don't want to be is in the upper left. Upper left, these are states that have tremendous resources, but their public flagship institutions are underperforming in their perceived reputational rankings. So together with University of Nevada, Reno, University of Florida, Rutgers is just barely outside that band, but the clear outlier here is Stony Brook. Given the resources of the state of New York, given that we are the #1 public flagship in the state of New York, a state that has tremendous resources, we really ought to be a top 10 public institution. Absolutely. We ought to be supplying the engineering talent to the state of New York that it deserves. And we're not there right now. And there are a number of reasons why, and President McCormick talked about several of them. And I want to show you how we plan to ameliorate some of them, but then we have to make some decisions about where we want to be.
Are there any other SUNYs in those dots?
UB is not shown here. I'm listing us as the flagship. I listed one flagship for each state, but UB is similar to us. They're a little bit behind us. So if we were to plot UB, they would be right about there.
Got it. And that's the only other SUNY with the engineering school?
That's the only other public flagship with engineering school, yeah.
Well, are there any engineering schools in the SUNY system that perform better than us?
No.
Got it.
We perform the best in engineering in the state of New York, but we're off by.
And is this our peak, or are we in a swell when it comes to our rating?
We've been steadily increasing. Last year, U.S. News and World Report, people use U.S. News and World Report. When I was in high school, this was just a news magazine that was performing poorly. They decided to put out the best colleges in kind of a Hail Mary, and then somehow everybody stuck with it. It's a perceptual ranking, but students use it, and it's an important measure of where we sit, reputation. And there are many factors that go into it. One of the strongest is research expenditure. And then there's a sort of a beauty contest among deans and senior administrators at institutions. We're about where we've been for a while. We've been far worse. We were a little bit better recently, but they changed the formula. And if you really want to know the details, this is the man that knows the most about reputational rankings and all sorts of.
Got it.
So this is about where we are. It's not like we've hit a giant bump or that we've hit a big swell.
But Andy, one thing that I think is important to think about is over the last several years where inflationary costs haven't been covered, engineering had been really growing, and because of budgetary issues, we sort of had to pull them back. And so if that had not happened, if there was the support to continue to grow them, if we had the dorms to be able to, residence halls to be able to do that, we would, I believe, have seen continued positive growth. But there were just so many things stacked against them that now, as the president had mentioned, if we can move in some of the right directions, engineering can be a leader in that.
There are a number of institutions in here that if you looked at this 25 years ago or so, would be well within the band or underperformers. Purdue, for example, invested tremendously in the state of Indiana over the last 20, 25 years, and I was at the University of Illinois just across the border, and I watched as they went from someone that we didn't really pay attention to someone that was really fine-tuning things. So it really makes a difference how the state invests in higher education. If we just look at some other measures of where we are and where we need to be, this is listing the size of the faculty in engineering colleges by public ranking. And this is of the public institutions rated in the top 40 from U.S. News and World Report. If you look at this, you'd see that Stony Brook, which our current public ranking is 36th, has a faculty size, as it was about 176 faculty, that's about at the median for the peers in the 4th decile. So if we want to be in the 30 to 40 range among public institutions, we're about the size of those peers. But our aspirational peers really are over in the top 10. Based on the resources of the state of New York, based on the needs of the state of New York, we really should be over there. But this is a compelling indication that it's difficult to do that with the size of our faculty in our institution as it is today. A similar number, it doesn't look that different because the faculty support the students, is if you look at the enrollment in the engineering colleges, again by decile, undergraduate enrollment against this reputational ranking at U.S. News and World Report. We're over here at rank 36, and we're just about where we would be in this grouping in a top 40, but not a top 10. We'd almost need to grow up to 50 or 100% to be in that group in terms of enrollment. This is a really important slide, I think. That's why I put it here. New York State needs engineers. So if I plot, again, states based on the number of engineering degrees that are conferred per capita across the United States, we are dead last. By public institutions. By public institutions. New York State is dead last. We give out the fewest bachelor's degrees in engineering from public institutions of any state in the union. We happen to be number 4 in the nation if you count privates. So what does that say? Well, I'll leave that to you to decide what that says. We're not investing in the students that we really are meant to be here to serve. Now, this is another important slide. Not since the closing years of World War II has the United States committed to invest in technology and engineering and industrial manufacturing at the rate that it is doing so right now. Vannevar Bush's letter to President Roosevelt, Science, the Endless Frontier, that created the National Science Foundation, basically went from a nation that put nothing into science and technology and the one that put about 5% of GDP into technology and research. We're now at those levels, historic levels again. And of all the states in the nation, guess which state has the largest investment from private corporations in research and development right now? Of the $450 billion that's pouring in from the CHIPS and Sciences Act, that was originally called the Endless Frontier Act, harking back to Vannevar Bush, $123 billion are coming to the state of New York. But where are the engineers and scientists going to come from to serve in those jobs? We need to create those jobs. We need to create those engineers. So we desperately need the engineers in the state of New York, and we need to invest. Our faculty are strong as ever. We've been hiring as fast as we can replace any faculty that retire or that move on, and we've grown a fair amount over the last couple of years, thanks in great part due to the investments that Carl and others have made in our college. And our faculty are award-winning. So the National Science Foundation Early Career Awards, these are designations that are sought after all across the country. These are the kind of faculty that we have to work hard to keep other universities from trying to poach, but we continue to get all of our new faculty winning such awards. We just grew our advancement team, trying to do what we can to bring in additional resources outside those that come from the state of New York. There's an $8 million commitment from an industrial donor that we can now say is on your consent agenda, on your agenda to discuss. onsemi is investing $8 million in silicon carbide crystal growth. There's another $10 million of investment that's going from the university and Empire State Development to build on that and create a center of excellence. And our advancement team has done really, really well this last year with over $8 million in programs and scholarships and a number of major gifts that are currently in the pipeline. Some of our priorities for the advancement team are endowed chairs and professorships so that we can recruit and retain the best faculty in the nation. Scholarships for undergraduate students and fellowships for graduate students, again, so that we can bring in fantastic domestic students and international students, but primarily domestic students outside and inside the state of New York. And then we've got wonderful naming opportunities for some of the new buildings that are in the pipeline. One of these you may have heard of already is the multidisciplinary engineering building, and that's abutted to another new building, which is the Neuro AI Institute. These will break ground in the spring of 2026. The original documents are done, and they're at a point of bid for the construction documents. It's about 100,000 gross square feet, about 60,000 net square feet. It is largely teaching and research laboratories for the engineering and applied sciences side. There's research space and collaboration space. for the Neuro AI Institute, and then the headquarters of the undergraduate programs and the Administration for Engineering in the house. It's a spectacular building, and as good as these pictures look, the newer renderings are even better. So where are we going? Really, my goal over the next 5 years is to enhance our national reputation. We really should be a top 10 public engineering college, and we can be. There's some investments that we need to make, and there's some strides that will help us to get there. We need to grow our research enterprise. Some of that will be done by enhancing the efficiency of our research operation on campus. And we talked about some of the ways that we're going to do that. We're going to expand the portfolio of funding agencies and ways that our faculty are doing research, including more engagement with industry. We need to communicate our success. It's wonderful that everyone on Long Island knows that Stony Brook has a fantastic engineering and applied sciences college. But I want kids from Indiana and Illinois and Michigan and California to want to go to Stony Brook because they heard about it, they heard about how great it was. So we built and grown a communications and marketing office. In fact, I didn't show you the statistics, but we are constantly fighting with MIT and Berkeley and Stanford for being #1 in engagement on social media. So we're doing a great job getting a lot of engagement with our alumni and potential donors. There's a new budget model that you probably have heard discussed in this room, and that will reward growth and engagement with more students and engagement with more research. We're on our way, I believe, to be a top 10 public engineering college in the United States, and I think we can be a top 25 overall in the U.S. And I'd be happy to take your questions.
Great. Very impressive, Andy. And, I have a couple of questions. If the rankings, and if you said it and if I didn't hear you, I apologize. But in New York State, if we were just comparing Stony Brook versus UB, are we higher ranked than UB in those categories you were showing the graphs on?
Almost always. Occasionally there might be a slight
Flip.
mistake on behalf of yours.
And then what about the private? So if when I think of engineering, I think of RIT or Rensselaer. Are we in the same league with them? Are they much better? Are we better?
We tend to be in the same league with some of the smaller of the privates. Cornell and Columbia are typically going to outpace us in the reputational rankings. Due to the investments that they have, they've got faculty in some cases that are much larger, like Cornell, and they got research expenditures that are much higher. There's no reason, though, that we can't compete strongly with them. I believe that the state of New York, with the GDP that it has, the proximity that we have to the greatest city on the planet, we should be absolutely, bar none, the greatest public engineering program in the United States. We should be. We're not right now.
Right.
But we should be.
Got it. And also, when it comes to the way we are structured, are most of our peers or those we aspire to be, do they have engineering combined with applied sciences? Or is there, and I assume there are some efficiencies having it all together, but might, could it be better if they were broken apart, and then would our stats change at all if engineering was by itself and comparing it to other engineering schools?
So I'm not going to name names, but there are a couple of states that play games with data, and their reputational rankings put them in places that they don't belong. And I'll let Braden just nod his head and say, yeah, that's true. We don't do that. Barring a couple of examples where there are games that are played, for the most part, if you change whether you included computer science or don't include computer science, or you include applied math statistics or don't, you're not going to change things that much. A fair amount of it is research expenditure, and another piece of it is reputational ranking. It depends on whether you're talking about the graduate ranking or the undergraduate ranking. One of them is largely, I get a letter that says, just say which of these you think are excellent or are okay, and don't rank the ones that you don't want to. And then that leads to the beauty contest for one set of rankings. So that one, it's all perception. The other one is fairly driven by enrollments and research expenditures and statistics that are, you have to fudge and break rules that Brady would not let us break.
Interesting. And my last question, I remember working behind the scenes with Judy and Maury several years ago on the AI neuroscience initiative. My recollection is we also got Cold Spring Harbor involved. Are they doing their own thing on their campus, or are they involved with what you're trying to build here at Stony Brook?
Yes and yes. So the Neuro AI Institute at Cold Spring Harbor and the Neuro AI Institute at Stony Brook both came from the same pot of money from the state of New York. The buildings are separate. The programs are related in that we have faculty and graduate student exchanges between the two. I'm excited by the visits that we've gotten recently from the folks at Cold Spring Harbor that recognize there's wonderful opportunities that we have to build and grow beyond that. Our investments not only in this building, the Neuro AI Institute, but also in our interdisciplinary AI Institute that's campus-wide. Have they been briefed on this yet? I don't know.
I don't think we've presented on this yet.
So we're making a substantial investment from the PI funds in AI across the entire campus for obvious reasons. And the Neuro AI Institute came long before, or 5 years or so before, that investment was made, but there's a great confluence between the two. So the opportunities for broader synergies between Stony Brook, Cold Spring Harbor, Brookhaven, really to be sort of a cultural wellspring for AI research are tremendous.
Great. Anybody else have any questions for Andy?
Well, let me say the general rule regarding rankings is when they're good, we brag about them, and when they're bad, we complain about the methodology.
Nista, what about your fellow students here? They've seen you have you're not in the engineering department.
I personally am not, no. Though I did do research with the BMI department, and they're amazing. But I know you mentioned that you're adding a new data science degree program. Over there it said MS and PhD, but you said undergrad as well?
It's a new bachelor's program, yes. It is about to enroll. I don't know if we're doing it this coming spring or if it'll be next year, but it is approved by SUNY and it is ready to go. We're just making sure that when it does launch, we have all of the resources in place for it to be as successful as possible.
That's exciting. I know some schools have new programs like bachelors in artificial intelligence or cybersecurity or some other growing fields. Are there any plans to add more degree programs in the future? I know that might be a couple years down the road, but.
So there's a lot of discussion along those lines. And certainly we've got a tremendously strong group in cybersecurity. In fact, we just got a designation as a national, it's NCEC, I don't know what the letters stand for. Center of Excellence in Cybersecurity?
Yeah.
Designated by the NSA. So we're going out later this year to get that designation. But our faculty and our research at the graduate student level are very strong in that area. And I would love to see specializations in the undergraduate tracks along those paths. Whether or not we have a bachelor's degree directly in that, that's really a question of looking at the resources that we have. We are small right now compared to the schools that have all of these different specializations.
Yeah. I also want to thank you for the charts are incredible visualizations, and I know they aren't easy to make as someone in an AMS class right now. But so thank you for those.
I also have tremendous help and support of a great college.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Miss. Anybody else?
Kevin?
Yep, call.
So if I was watching, if I were you all, one thing I might be thinking about or asking is, why are we not investing more in engineering? Because Andy is really an innovative dean. He is the right person to be in this role. What Kevin has done as the new PR, he has lots of ideas for how we can build and move forward. The student experience, like the vertically integrated teams and everything that engineering is doing, and the desperate need the state has. The question is, what's Stony Brook doing? But I think then it's important to come back to, there may have been a point, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, where there was an underinvestment in engineering. But over the past few years, while engineering has grown, about 10 or 15 faculty, somewhere around there, arts and sciences has lost 80 faculty, and other schools and colleges have been relatively flat. Now, engineering deserves everything they've gotten, and they are maybe the most important piece to the next steps of the university and our really pulling through what it means to be a flagship and support the state. But there are so many financial challenges, and I want to bring this back to when the president brought up why we would be increasing enrollment, because this is so crucial to the next steps of the university of building engineering, but also making sure that we're supporting arts and sciences and that we have a strong general education so our students can get jobs, but they're also better people, that they are part of a healthy and thoughtful society. And so as we think about how we handle things like inflationary costs that traditionally haven't been supported, but it looks like at least this year and then in the future maybe, if we are able to increase enrollment but do it in a thoughtful way, if we are able to really get everything right in ways that we can, we really can support the vision that Andy's laid out. And if we can do that, that's going to have a huge impact on the state.
Well said, Cole. I know with my ESD chair hat on, when we look at what's happening in other regions of the country, we always look at the regions that are producing the most engineers are the regions that are doing well and have a bright future because they're growing. And so we need to be doing the same here. And so thanks for arming us with all these details and information. And we appreciate it. Thank you, Randy. And it's quite apropos that we just had that presentation because we have one official act of business we need to do. Again, one of our roles as council members is we also get to approve programs, name buildings and centers and things like that. And Justin has a resolution before us related to some of the information that Andy just shared with us.
Thanks, Kevin. So in your materials is a resolution to name the onsemi silicon carbide crystal growth center, say that 3 times fast, in support of what Andy just described in the faculty doing research in this space. onsemi is one of the world's leading semiconductor manufacturers. Scott Barrett and his team have built and helped secure this relationship and initial support for this center. We've done our due diligence with this, as we always do. Upon your consideration and approval, this would then go to the SUNY board to be approved since it is a physical naming of space. So that's the resolution in front of you.
And this was the related to the $8 million that was in your presentation. Very nice sized gift. And where is onsemi based out of?
They're a national company. They've just acquired a new fabrication plant in East Fishkill, New York as well. So they're going to add a $1.3 billion center up there.
And are they a private company or a public?
Private company. And the Crystal Growth Center will be on our campus.
I'm sorry?
The space itself will be on our campus.
On our campus.
Yeah.
Great. So, all right, so the foundation and Justin are recommending that we name the building, or approve this resolution, naming the onsemi silicon carbide crystal growth center at the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. And so I will move it. Chris Hahn seconds it. Any comments or questions on the motion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Justin. Does any council member have any other business they wish to raise at this point? Our next meeting is going to be December 9th, and I presume it'll be in this room unless you hear differently from Rachel. So I'll move to adjourn. Father Alex seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are done. Thank you. For those celebrating, have a happy Rosh Hashanah and a solemn New Year, and we'll see you in December.